33 building, and what we do is so special, and we try to do it more and more every day, and this was a fantastic opportunity. The Players Ring is a non-profit organization. We're a theater. We've been here since 1992. Our founder is actually in the house. Barbara, hello. Oh, there she is, stuffing her face. Together with her husband, Gary. The goal today, as it was 34 years ago, is really to uplift artists and encourage them and support them and give them the tools, the resources they need to create bold, excellent, meaningful work that can really have a ripple effect out into the world. Like a quiet, powerful ripple effect of curiosity. Every time you walk into the space, you will never see it the same, configured in the same way. You will have a sense maybe of empathy about, right, what happens on stage to these characters, to these fellow humans. And then joy, entertainment. Fun is good, you know, sometimes theater is not associated with entertainment. So, oh, is this like intellectual stuff that we never get? It's not, right? It can be pure joy. And every year, in honor of this mission, we hire between 250 and 350 artists to make it happen. You know, playwrights, directors, actors, designers. And what I realized every time I know these people, I'm gonna get to visual artists in a second because there's a lot of parallel with that, is that these people, in order to self-realize as human beings, to become the fullest versions of themselves, they need to work. They need to do what they're born to be. And so that's our way at the Players Ring to do it. We give them the space, we give them the resources to create excellent work. So far, we've done that with theater makers. But our founder, Gary, Barbara's husband, was actually a very multifaceted, multi-talented artist. He was a set designer, costume designer, playwright, he was a painter himself. In fact, we had, I would say for 34 years, his artwork in the lobby. And then I was at Leadership Seacoast last year on a panel for the Art and Culture Day, and before this panel there was a presentation by Molly, and I was, I don't know, hearing her and her approach to her work and her vibe that I think everybody is aware of. And then I saw her artwork projected on stage, and I literally sprinted after her when she was on the way out before the panel. And I felt that, I don't know, we could do something lovely together. I asked her, so what's the vibe? Why do you exhibit like this? And she's like, actually, I'm not really in the scene. What? So I invited her to come here, and I think she enjoyed the space. To be honest with you all, I was thinking that she would just bring some artwork that she already had. Bring some stuff, yeah, it's gonna be great. And again, in what I now discovered is Molly's fashion, she dove like deep right into research and values, our values as a theater, and the history of those professionals, right, that have that boldness, that courage to butt out and perform here and give us so much and enter into this like symbiotic relationship with us as theater lovers. So I think that Gary would love the idea. He was the type of guy that he needed an actor. He would open the door. Hey, do you want to play Christmas Carol? Just come. So he was, no, this is fun fact. Like, I've been told he did that. So my point is, I think he would be delighted to know that now, in addition to uplifting artists in this space, we're doing it in the lobby as well. So, the lobby. What's in the lobby? I would love for Molly Mang to tell you herself. So thank you for all the work you've put into this, and tell us. Okay.
You can see why we get along so well.
Yes.
Right? If you know me even slightly, you can see why Marguerite and I are just like,
Yes.
so I kept calling calling this my show, when I would say to people, oh, I hope you can come to my show, and I've always been uncomfortable with that little my. I think it sounds so possessive. And so I really have to express that what I really mean is I think it's our show. And the reason I think this is a couple different things. It's not just me that's out there. So if I can go all the way back to do a connection. Come in. I can't believe you guys are here. That's so cute. If I can go all the way back, I'm going to say it starts with my thanks, of which I have to hopefully. I will catch it all. It's funny, on the way over here, Ryan, I was looking at this piece of paper, and Ryan goes, what's that? And I said, I'm gonna just give a little talk just for a minute. And he's like, a little talk? Dude, it's in 14 font point. Don't worry. But, so, if I really am clear about my thanks, I have to start with Jen, who asked me to speak at Creative Mornings last February. It was probably one of the most difficult and most, for me personally, inspiring things I've ever been forced to do. And so Jen gave me that spotlight, which in turn led Zach to come to me and say, oh my God, that was great. Will you come and speak at Leadership Seacoast? So I spoke there, which in turn led me to Marguerite,
Yes.
who then invited me to do this project. And along that line of thanks, it continues. And if you've known me for more than a minute, you're probably on that grid somewhere, but I only have time to get through a few. So I want to then say, after being asked to do this project, Ryan, my husband, has never backed away from one mood I've had, one meltdown I've had. Never. I'm having a meltdown, and Ryan steps right into the puddle and says, don't worry, babe, I've got that, yes. And that's incredible. I don't know how I lucked out to have a partner like that, but I really, so Ryan for sure. Ryan comes from Amazing Stock, which are my in-laws, Mara and Paris, who I also have to thank, who have supported every single stupid, silly thing I've ever done. They have never said, that's ridiculous, what are you thinking, go get a job. So I really have to thank them as well. And then from them, I have to go into my friend group just a bit, where I have to thank Suzanne, who puts up with everything and is the one that came up with the genius idea of me connecting with our friend Bruce, who, if it weren't for Bruce, who literally built that oak wood frame out there for the woven piece, but also in the depths of his sickness, hung every single piece of artwork out there. I could not have done this without Bruce. Bruce is not here. So Cheryl, his wife, is just going to have to express that my thanks are so massive, it's unbelievable. Then there's a whole bunch of people that I can't thank, that because I don't know who they are. But if you recognize anything in the work that I make, you can see I use a lot of vintage materials, right? So I use a lot of old ephemera. I use things that came out of garbage cans. I use things that come from the gutter. I use things that people don't want in their lives anymore and hand down to me. I can't get enough of it. So I would like to thank every person that's ever hoarded anything and then kept it forever and passed it on to me. I get a lot of things that I don't know what the background story is, and you won't see the people in my pieces, but they're there. And I believe the energy is there as well. And so I only use ephemera and things that I really feel a positive energy from. If I have any negative feelings, I can't use that. I let it go. It goes somewhere else. It goes to Goodwill, whatever it is. But so everything out there is something that I've inherited from someone else. It belonged to someone else. It has a long history that I don't know anything about, but I know there's stories there. And that's a large part of what I think the theater is about as well. The stories are there. Whether we come to the shows or not, the stories are being told. And that's the same way I felt about putting this artwork together for the theater. And it is very specific to the theater. So just briefly, I'll go through a couple pieces. The banner that's right behind the door as you walk in, which is the Shakespeare phrase, all the world's a stage. That big velvet banner, which is an homage to the theater in general, right? So velvet curtains that open on a big stage that you're like, oh, I can't get enough of velvet. I just think it's so incredible. If you go out there and you peek behind the banner is fabric that I inherited from my friend Rebecca's mom when she passed. She's had that fabric, that Mary Mecco fabric, for 30 some odd years, I'm sure. If you really look at it, and I feel like I've got to take the banner off the wall and show you, it looks like Shakespeare's village. It's so incredible. It's just these little houses, and it's like, it's the epitome of all the world's a stage. That banner is sewn with thread I inherited from Jack and Suzanne, their mother, Jack's mother Annie, who had a long, very wonderful life where she gave a lot of service to this town and others. I inherited that thread box of hers. I used that thread specifically in that banner because I wanted to be able to say, Suzanne, hey, Annie's in this banner. Then moving on from the banner, just so you don't think I destroyed all those books just for their spines. Back in 2019, before COVID was around, I had a show called Same But Different in San Francisco, and I had 100 pieces of work on the wall, and every single piece was a stitched quote that encouraged people to be better to one another, to be kind to themselves, and to do the best they can out in society. Those books were across the wall. Those spines come from those books. So I still own a lot of the book innards. The book covers are gone to other people. They live with other people, and now the spines live here. So it's all a big reuse thing. And then there are two little Easter eggs on there. One of them is a title of a book that's up in the top right corner under the trigonometry spine. That said, it's called Producing in Little Theaters. Another one is called Margherita. And so those are both in honor of Margherita. And then the cyanotype that you see on the wall. Every single one of those little floral or weeds or flowers or pieces, every single one of those is local, whether it's Lee or Newfields or Portsmouth. Every single one of those was printed here in New Hampshire, and that was very important to me. On the back side is a tiny little cyanotype print of the Abenaki people, because I think it's really important, and I know a lot of people mention it and kind of in passing talk about what we're doing here or how we ever got here, who was here before us, and I think that's an important thing to think about in your own time, not to be preachy about it, but I think that's important to understand that we are on Abenaki land. So to me, those flowers and those weeds and those funny little grasses couldn't exist if it wasn't for caretakers of the land long before us. If you move around the corner and you go to the blossom piece, the blossom piece is made up of so many different elements, but just a couple I want to mention. I try to use things that come from my dad's office, which was a home office for many years. My dad passed 3 years ago. I try to use a lot of things that come out of his desk now. So the words are cut out of those old coin rolls that we used to all roll coins, remember that? The pennies, the nickels, the dimes, the quarters. That's what all the words are cut out of. And the reason they're cut out of those papers, not only because I think the color was so incredible, but also because the quote itself, I think, lends us the idea that there is a cost to everything. There is a cost to hanging on to shit. There is a cost, oh, Mom's not gonna like that. There is a cost to letting go. So that's why I specifically used those coin rolls, because I felt that quote had that idea behind it. The word blossom is cut out of a piece of painted paper that I grabbed at the end of someone else's workshop called Paint Your Way to Peace. Now, I have no idea if the color of that painted paper is when the person started or when they ended in their piece. I have no idea. To me, it was the same. It was someone that was having an emotion and expression, and blossom is like that, right? So it's painful, it's also beautiful, and that's where I got that idea that it had to be cut out of that paper. Moving down to This Must Be the Place. And I swear to God, I'm not going to do every piece, but in This Must Be the Place, there's a few things. My mother-in-law had a mother and a father that I loved very, very much and only got to know for a few years before they passed. And in that piece, the thread that every single one of those letters is sewed on with comes from Nana. And I think that was me just wanting to put Nana into something, which I often want to. the fabric that's used in those letters, you can't really tell it's fabric in This Must Be the Place, but that fabric I dyed probably 6, 7, 8 years ago when we were just visiting New Hampshire, Portsmouth, and Ryan said to me, couldn't you live here? Couldn't you? And I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I can live in such a little town. But Rye comes from here, and so that's how we ended up here. And so I love the idea of bringing it back to that moment when we were just visiting. And then the notebook paper that is typed on, This Must Be the Place, it comes from a little tiny spiral notebook that's about this big, of a man and a woman that I do not know and never will. Probably 1928. They wrote down every single place they ever went, every single thing they ate, every cent they paid, 8 cents for gas, 5 cents for a stamp. And it reminded me so much of my dad and how much he keeps track of things like that. And I just thought, imagine those two, right? They pull up in their old sedan and they think, this must be the place. And so I thought, this is a perfect piece. And it's how I feel about being here at the theater, right? So when you walk in and you think, I have no idea what kind of experience I'm about to have, but this must be the place. So that's the work. And then I just want to say one more thing, and I don't want to get it wrong. This is that big sheet. There's two things I want to say. What I'm trying to express in every piece of work I make is this thought, that we're all in this together, that we are all related, that we can all treat each other better and kinder on a daily basis than you even think you can. And as Ram Dass said, and I'm a big Ram Dass follower, we're all just walking each other home. I called this show Strangely Fantastic, and in my words printed out there and in the press release and everything, it says that I hope it's the feeling you have when you're looking at the show and experiencing the show. And that's not exactly right. It's not. I mean, yes, sure, I hope you do. But really what I hope is that you feel strangely fantastic in every opportunity you get in being out in the world. And what I mean by strangely fantastic is that feeling when you meet a dog and he has eyes like a human and you totally connect to that dog and you might talk to them privately. That's a strangely fantastic feeling, right? It's that feeling when you're driving down the road listening to a really great song and all the cattails are waving to the tune of the song, but it almost, and this happened to me the other day, looks like they're going, come on, come on, come on. It's strangely fantastic. And that feeling when you're thinking of a relative and you pass someone that has a really similar scent. Maybe they're wearing the same perfume, but it brings them into the zone. It's that strangely fantastic feeling, and this feeling only comes about if you're paying attention. Pay attention. Pay attention to the people around you. Pay attention to what you pay attention to. Thanks a lot, Margherita.
To all these layered, meaningful jewels that are hidden in there. I just want to say the artwork is for sale and it benefits both the artist and the players Ring Theater. Also, if you wonder if we set up this set for Molly only, we didn't.